Welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast with Mundanara Bales.
My sister, thank you for joining me on this beautiful day here on Nyikina Country. I would love for you to share with my listeners and our viewers on YouTube. Tell us about your mob, or tell us your name, your mob, and a little bit about where you grew up. Because a lot of people, when we mention our mob, whether it's a language group or our tribes, people don't know where that is.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about, your story.
Sure. My name is Cissy Gore-Birch. I am a Jaru Kija woman with connections to Balanggarra, Bunuba and Nyikina up in the East Kimberley and the Kimberley region. I grew up in Wyndham, a small community up in the East Kimberley, and you know what families are like. My mum and dad had 8 of us in the household, and they adopted so many other kids. So it was overcrowded, but it was fun. And we shared, the way we were brought up, we were poor. We shared everything with everybody else.
And you got hand-me-downs?
We got hand-me-downs.
And that was deadly.
It was so deadly. It was like a awesome op shop, all those girls just digging through things. It was just
one of 9.
Well, you'd know now.
All girls.
We had 6 girls up,
okay,
and then 2 boys came late. So, and by that time I left home. So, there's a 19-year gap between myself as the eldest and my youngest brother. So
you are the eldest.
Yes, I am.
Sis, I'm the 6th youngest.
Oh,
I got 5 older sisters. So I'm number 6, and then 3 little sisters.
Yeah, no.
I have no idea what it'd be like to be the eldest.
Yes, there's a lot of pressure, but I don't know. You just need to go and do what you have to do, and try and encourage kids. Yeah, pretty much.
To the younger ones?
Yes. It was like that a lot, and it was nice too with all the girls. We grew up together in the household. It was like sisters. There was a lot of fighting, arguing, fighting over clothes, our shoes, like, where's my shoes? Where's my clothes? So the girls were just always fighting all the time and arguing, but it was pretty amazing, growing up in that household, the opportunity we had. Mum and Dad took us out fishing, camping, hunting. We just grew up on the land, in the bush, and, that's something that, we'll never, ever forget. And this is, the things that I try and grow up, with and instill with my children. I've got 5 children and 1 little grandchild and 1 more coming on in December.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I'm very happy about that and very excited. It's just such a different love. And it's amazing. I heard my parents say that, being a grandmother and a grandparent it's a different thing to a parent. So definitely agree. And it's just such a lovely thing.
So where are you living now?
Living in Kununurra. I'm only 100 k's away from Wyndham, but, I had the opportunity to live in Melbourne for 4 years and travelled around to Perth, Broome, Fitzroy, so a number of places. So I ended up back in Kununurra after travelling around and working, and, I had some great opportunities through my life. And I must say, just having that hardship growing up as a young person, you sort of just try everything. An opportunity is an opportunity, and you just trial everything. And I had this wonderful opportunity in growing up and living on country, and it's amazing what sort of brings you back to that. I had the opportunity to work with Bush Heritage Australia as a senior executive and of national partnerships right across Australia. And it took me across overseas and working in conservation and land management. And, I sat on a lot of boards with the Threatened Species Scientific Committee and sitting on the a committee at the moment with ICEN, the Indigenous Carbon Industry Network, as a co-chair. But a number of other boards just really sort of brought me in this space. And being down here with Karina and the team, and just having that opportunity to facilitate and MC the event is pretty amazing.
You are the master of ceremonies.
Yes, for this time. And I've been so fortunate. Karina and her team have called me back for the last 3 years. So I've been MCing the event for the last 3 years. And it's just nice to just see the people and the community and the growth behind this. And Karina and her team have done a wonderful job, And it's just grown from 150, I think, by memory, the first time we had it, 3 years ago. The second year was around 350, now up to 450 people. So it's just it's just growing on its own, and it's evolving. But this space around climate, clean energy, Aboriginal people on native title, and this space it's going to continue to evolve. It's going to continue to grow. And this is where I'm so passionate about it. Not only just the fashion, fashion is just a side.
Yep.
And because I had to get my head out of that native title space. I was in native title for over 20 years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
you know, and being a mother and doing all these things over the years, and saw a lot of meetings and went to a lot of conferences, and being in a place now, you know, like over 50 years old, and I just like, I'm not going to spend the next 20 years doing this. I need to try and do something for myself. So that's why I went to fashion, but just to get my head around being more creative. Like I was an artist back in the day and sort of gave that away, you know, for kids, and then gone out as a consultant, and doing consultancy work has been amazing. And this is something that, you know, I've experienced for the last probably 8 years as a consultant, just doing this stuff and just being in a different space and a different mindset.
It's good. And it's empowering.
Oh my God, like it's so...
Wake up when you want to wake up. No one telling you what to do, when to do, whether you can have a lunch break, whether you can go on leave, how much leave you can have, whether you can go to a funeral.
You can... But
Like that independence.
Yes, and you're setting your own agenda, you know, and it's just like everything I look at is an opportunity. And that's where my sort of fashion started from. When I was sitting on the Threatened Species Scientific Committee for the federal government, I was the first Indigenous person to be seated on that committee. And, you know, it was always told that, oh, you have to be a scientist to be able to sit on here. I was like, no, I actually have an interest in native title and traditional owners' rights, and I have an interest in this space around species of cultural significance. And through that journey, we were pushing the point of the importance of species of cultural significance to be recognised, to look at funding opportunities. And because threatened species, they get a lot of funding, whereas species of cultural significance to us as First Nations people is not even heard about, and there's not a lot of funding available. So I had the opportunity to sit there and I was like, what can I do in this space to be able to just promote this? And that's why I ended up doing screen printing on my shirts of all the different totemic species and species of cultural significance. So I just got my son, I said, I need you to draw these designs up. I just want to get these, you know, these animals of species of cultural significance on our shirts to promote and sell, just to get it out there. And then that's how we started our fashion, by this whole inspiration of species of cultural significance, keeping that, you know, the conservation and land management sort of scene and setting, and looking at what's sustainable for us, you know, is really where, you know, I want to end up for us, for my family, but also to promote the importance of self-sufficient, you know, being confident in that space to be able to share that knowledge and understanding. And now we've started our fashion. It's just only a side thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Only
You're still consulting, you're juggling.
Consulting,
sitting on boards,
consulting,
events,
being a mother, you know, and just looking after our little farm. And I mean, like, just, it's been an amazing journey, like in the last 4 years, like living in a tent. So I was living in a tent on our property. We bought a little bush block and we live in a sea container during the wet. And we're growing our own food. We've got about 25 head of sheep, and we've got 30 chickens, you know, and so we've got our own produce that we, you know, dealing with at home, but we want to be able to expand on that and just share our knowledge, because my husband, he's got a background in science. I've got natural resource management, and we have this aspiration not only for ourselves, but to help our people and others who want to come on this journey about growing your own food, becoming self-sufficient, living off the land, and not becoming so reliant and dependent on the systems around us.
Of course, and there's massive issues around food security in our communities, especially remote communities. What are some of the challenges within that community that you want to share with some of my listeners that I've never heard of Kununurra?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so many issues. There's a lot of youth crime. There's a lot of dysfunction in our communities. There's a lot of poverty. As you say, food security, everyone's so reliant on the food and the shops, you know, and it's just the housing situation, you know, and they're talking about this whole deal about climate change. Like, all our houses are made out of tin, and it's just not appropriate, and the cost of living is ridiculous. The rent is crazy. It's above $350 to $500 a week. And, you know, this is how are people supposed to live and survive in that space if you don't have a job, if you don't have that security, if you don't have the support. And this is what I've noticed over the last probably 25 years, 30 years is, you know, our family structures are breaking down because of all the distractions that are happening around us. And the busyness of life has just taken control of us. And this is, I guess, just on reflection of all these different things that are happening in our communities, we need to take ownership of this because we can't rely on the government to fix our problems.
Yep.
We as a community need to come together and help and support one family at a time matters, at the end of the day, and working with our young people, our families, building our families up again. But, the systems have really failed us, and this is where we need to think beyond the systems and to be able to look at how do we build those systems that we once had in our communities.
That are going to work for us.
Yes. You know what I mean? We just hope.
Which is different from each community.
Exactly. And this is where our people and our leaders need to come together and, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of pull me down.
Of course, because some people are doing well, some aren't. Some have been through the education system. Some went off to boarding school.
Yes,
and come back educated, and they're even struggling with, being educated, or how they talk, or how they dress, what kind of job, what kind of car they drive.
Yes.
I see it a lot within a lot of our communities, and sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Oh, it is.
But I always think about, getting out of bed every day and just making sure that my children can see that there's a lot that life has to offer us. That we have, when you think about the challenges and the lives that our old people had to live through.
Yes.
And we get to, we're not living under those conditions anymore in terms of those acts that controlled every aspects of our lives, but we've been impacted by those acts.
Yes.
For a lot of people that are thinking about supporting, some of our initiatives, some of our programs in our communities, I think business and entrepreneurship has been the way that I could create economic wealth or whatever, empowerment, but just breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty.
Yes.
Breaking the cycle of intergenerational trauma.
Yeah.
These are some of the things that we deal with every day. But then we go and we do our business and sit on these boards and try and, be that voice for our people.
Yeah.
Because some of us have those privileges.
Yes. I mean, that's since coming out of that space, so I've sort of stepped away from a lot of boards and really picking and choosing what I sit on and what I get involved with, because I just think I've spent so many years sitting on these boards, doing a lot of community development stuff for so many other people, and you just sort of forget about yourself, and what's really important to you and your family and your family values and your community. And what I've found is that since I've gone into my own business, I feel a lot more freer from the system. You're not relying on the system. You're not waiting for a payroll from a system that's set up to fail and to create dependency. It's about creating your own destiny. I mean, it's hard, yakka.
Yeah.
Having to find the dollars, but that's part of life, and it actually drives me so much more where I can think a lot more innovatively in regards to what can I do next.
Yeah.
And trying to bring people onto that journey with me, and it's been such an amazing journey for so many of us women, around. And I just get so, full of joy to see so many Indigenous women around Australia, like yourself, absolutely kicking ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is what we need to celebrate. Yeah. And we need to wrap ourselves around this and celebrate this, because too many times we're pulled down by our own people in our own communities, and just being valued and appreciated, and to know that we are doing something we have to do, and we're creating the space for others to come on board.
Of course.
It's amazing.
I was with Sister Chantel Thompson, and she was talking about another podcast partnership around mental fitness, suicide prevention conversations. She was talking about we are not our trauma. This trauma is only 230 years old. We are a people of 100,000 years plus of knowledge and wisdom. That's who we are. And it just was so empowering just to remind ourselves that we're not victims.
Yeah.
We don't all need help.
No.
We are the drivers of our destiny. We're the ones that have to take control of the lives that we want to live and create the opportunities and the future that we want our children to prosper and to benefit from. Nothing's going to come easy, especially for anyone starting off in business. It's not easy.
No.
And you do not get any handouts. You don't get government funding. For all you non-Indigenous people that think if you're successful that you must have got a government grant, that is really it's far from the truth because you can't get a grant if you are for profit.
Yes.
We're not charities.
Yes.
Right? We are PTY LTDs and some of us have got trust as well.
Yes.
So with your new fashion business, how has it been, especially as a Aboriginal woman, navigating the fashion industry?
I mean, like, it's been interesting, as I said, it's understanding the fashion world, but thinking that I thought I'd come out of the politics, and from native title and dealing with the federal government and state and everybody else.
You thought you'd seen it all.
I thought I'd seen it all. I was like, yes, I'm going into a creative space, something that I want to do. I'm really, passionate about doing art. And next minute, I just go in there and it's just like you have to know certain people to be able to get certain things done.
To open doors.
And it's just like, I am just so thankful that we had DAF, the Darwin Aboriginal Art Fair, the IFP program, the Indigenous Fashion Program. And we've also got a program through the Kimberley called the Kimberley Aboriginal Fashion Textiles Association. And that's only a newly built organisation to help women to be able to get through and understand fashion. And I mean, like, it's been an amazing journey. I've only been in it for this is my second year, but I've always had this passion to look at creating my own, my own stuff, my own clothing and my own brand. But I never thought at 50 years old, it's never too late to go into something completely new.
Yeah.
And it's just been such an amazing journey for me and for my family. Like, it's just sort of like a family business. I try and get my kids to draw the pictures and designs and give me feedback in regards to some of the clothing and the styles. And it's just been, that's one of my best things that I really get joyful about. And it brings a lot of joy to me. And it just sort of levels things out. Like, it's not too political, but it's enough. But I'm not too involved with that because I'm doing things on my own and just involving people that I want to get involved with. So, yeah, no, it's been nice, but it's been hard. Like, I've been able to get this, my first lot out, my stock this year.
So how can we purchase your fashion? Tell the listeners.
Yes, so to purchase my fashion, you have to go on to Lulujaru. So we've got a website, www.lulujaru.com.au, and I've got a Instagram page, official_Lulujaru, LULUJARU.
On Instagram.
On Instagram,
Too
yes.
deadly.
Yes.
And what has it been like? You got your website, you're on Instagram. What has it been in terms of how have you been perceived? Are you getting sales? Are you finding, Miglu women, Wajula women buying your fashion? Is it just for black women? Like, who's your
well, it's everyone.
Customers?
Like, I've been amazed. Like, the stuff that I'm wearing, like, it's made out of hemp and I do embroidery and it's not too busy and it's just really simple and sort of sophisticated and sort of, I want to try and keep that elegance but smart look because I travel a lot and I was like, what am I going to wear when I go traveling and when I'm going to go to a conference? And I've been so surprised. Like, we just had Darwin Aboriginal Art Fair last week. We had a stall and we actually had stock on the ground this time and we actually made, some really good sales. And we had people from all over come in and purchase because we've got the T-shirts with the animals on it, the species of cultural significance. And then we've got the other women's line with the jackets and the hemp clothing. And we've actually got a new men's line out also. And it's pretty amazing, yeah.
You've got a men's line?
Yes.
I've got to ask this because of my babies. Do you have children?
Yes, we do have
You
children,
do?
Yes.
I love the fact that every T-shirt tells a story.
Yes.
It's connected to culture. It's ethical. It's got integrity. It's educational.
Yes.
And you want more people to know about these species and hopefully the industry, the sector, the government, people that are legislating, policymakers,
Yes.
for them to understand these species as well.
Yes.
Clothing the Gaps launched to fund health promotion programs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And their T-shirts around fashion, starting conversations through fashion. That's exactly how I see this clothing. And there's so many black fellas now. And I'm so proud when I see all these different mob, whether it's the DAF or whether it's the Cairns Indigenous Art Fair. We are so deadly with what we want to do and the creativity, but we don't have the resources.
No.
So financially, to be able to back ourselves to put a product out in the market, how have you been able to navigate that?
Well, it's such an expensive space, and I didn't realize that when I went into it, but I'm so, I guess, blessed to have a job, as in my consultancy, and our teas, we sell our T-shirts because that covers actually the cost of making my stuff. And for our stock this year, I've had to take a loan of $50,000. There's no grants available to do this, and I was, it'd be great if there was some help to be able to do it, but this is my business and I know that it's my responsibility. And if I want it to be successful, I need to drive that. And so I've taken a loan of $50,000 to get the stock out, and I've finally got the stock and I just need to make the sales now. So, for everybody out there, our sales, so 10% of our sales actually goes back to our youth program. So we're developing a young women's on-country program. So we take young women out, teach them about conservation and land management matters, and looking at leadership and building young women's voices up in this space, and also looking at entrepreneurship. So because as a kid growing up, we always learnt about entrepreneurship because we were selling cakes, at the local card games. We were selling stew and rice down at the reserve.
Card games too.
Card games, we had that up there. This is the thing, we saw those opportunities and we actually made cash by selling cupcakes and jelly bowls and toffees and, all of that stuff. So we learnt at a very early age. And now this is the stuff I want to bring back to young kids, that you can actually make some money and some cash, because a lot of our young kids don't have that opportunity to have pocket money. Instead of humbugging your mother and father, go out and do something for yourself. So through our Young Women's program, this is what we're doing. And we were fortunate to get some funding available last year and this year to run our next Young Women's Working on Country program. And we're also 10% of our sales actually goes back into our youth housing project, because I've worked in the youth industry for a very long time. And we're wanting to develop a housing project for our young people on the streets that don't have a stable home, that are wanting to go and look for a job, and to be able to look at providing nutritional programs and also a money-making, money-saving sort of program, and to get them into a trade or a traineeship so that they have some stability, and, at least for that first part of their life. So our sales, whatever sales goes back into our youth program, so our housing program and also our Youth on Country program.
My sister, this is just too deadly, because we don't talk about all the deadly things that we do for our communities. No. Just being, black fellas, Aboriginal people, we're taught to be humble.
Yes.
To be grounded, not to big note yourself.
Yes.
And this is a platform where we can talk about what we're doing in our communities, because a lot of non-Aboriginal people really, they don't know. They've been taught and lied to through mainstream media. It's the deficit model.
Yes.
But here we are as two quite capable business owners and entrepreneurs that are still raising families, holding communities together, holding families together, growing up our babies and our young people to be strong in culture, and then teaching them about investing and entrepreneurship and looking after country. So I can't wait to come to Kununurra.
You have to come.
I'm coming back, not just for 24 hours.
No.
But also all of the networks and people and clients that I work with Black Card, the training I deliver to a lot of people, especially philanthropists, people that have money but don't know where to put the money. So these communities, these initiatives, and even the clothing, I can't wait to buy one of your coats. I'll be representing.
Please.
And letting people know where they can go to buy. But for all you mob listening, I hope you do look in the show notes and get online and purchase a T-shirt, even for a gift. For every $1 you spend with a black business, the social impact equals $4.41. We are 100 times more likely to employ our people, according to a recent study, and I'll put that study in the show notes as well. 100 times, not 10 times, 100 times more likely to employ our own people. So how about that in terms of closing the gap when it comes to unemployment rates? Back Indigenous businesses, because that's where the change is going to happen, not in 100 years. It can happen within our lifetime. So my sister, thank you.
Thank you.
For being here, jumping on this podcast and sharing the amazing work that you do within your community, within your family, and hopefully we'll see your garments on the runway.
Yes, next year.
Next year?
Next year, yes. I'm a part of the IFP program, so we got in and to showcase our collections in 2026 at the Australian Fashion Week.
I'm coming. There are so many people doing deadly things in this space. I can't wait for people to start engaging more and thinking about how can you resource some of these startups and initiatives happening in our community. So my sister, I don't need to say good luck. There's a lot of deadly things already happening, but I hope I can, come to the community and figure out how do we get more support, some funding to some of these programs that not just relying on sales of a T-shirt. There's some wealthy families in this country that really want to give back, and these programs are already set up. Yes. We just need some more resourcing.
That would be fabulous.
Without all the red tape.
Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, because I have been so blessed around the philanthropy that has supported me for the Young Women's Camp for the last 2 years. Yeah. And if we can have that, one camp a year is not enough.
No,
we want to do
need
at
5.
least. Yeah,
one a month.
Totally. It'd be amazing because it's that consistency that our young people could grow and develop, and that exposure. So we want to bring in women like yourself, professional, Black, strong women to come in to be able to share their stories in their journey, because that's where we're going to learn from.
So you can't be what you can't see.
Yes, exactly that. And this is the stuff that we need to do and expose our kids. And this is what the schools need to start learning about and teaching our kids about business, about entrepreneurship. Our kids are going to school learning about things that is not even necessary for future.
I know.
We need to be thinking about how do we embed these projects and programs into the school system so that our kids are thinking outside the box.
Of course. My sister, go and enjoy the rest of what's left of this deadly conference.
Yes.
And I hope I can see you very soon. I'll be wearing one of these deadly coats.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me on the show. Appreciate it.
Can't wait. We're going to be doing business
together.
I know.
Please, let's do this.
Let's do it. So
amazing.
Mob, this is where business happens, where the magic happens, not just on the podcast, but when black fellas get together. Can't wait to see what the future holds for us as more black women think about business and entrepreneurship as an option in terms of being employed by other people. We need to be in charge of our own destinies, and there's a lot of people that have been able to do it. It's never too late. So I hope you've got a lot out of this podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed this deadly yarn. So until next time, bye for now. If you'd like any more info on today's guest, please visit our show notes in the episode description. A big shout out to all you Deadly Mob and allies who continue to listen, watch and support our podcast. Your feedback means the world. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify, or even head to our socials and YouTube channel and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. The Black Magic Woman podcast is produced by Clint Curtis.